Welcome to this next session of Harbour Engineering. So let's begin with the new topic which we were continuing, that is wet docks. We have discussed a brief portion in the previous session. In this session, we will be continuing with the same point further ahead, that is wet docks. Now the first topic of our today's session is the various design parameters pertaining to wet docks. So depending upon the site condition, that is what is the specific scenario at that specific point, the dock design should be such which gives maximum length of quay. So one thing which we have to make sure is that the length of quay, that is the loading unloading terminal, marine terminal which is present, has the maximum length. The reason being that if the length is maximum, it will be able to handle more number of ship simultaneously. Thus, more the length, more number of ships it will be able to handle. So this is the basic parameter, that to make sure that we can get as much amount of length as possible in proportion to the water area of the basin. That is with reference to the water area, with reference to the basin, we should try to get the maximum length. Dock and basin should be rectilinear for ease in ships berthing. Curvilinear shapes are inconvenient and hence unsuitable. So whenever we are deciding the shape of the basin or area or dock, it must be as rectilinear as possible, that is usage of straight line as much as possible, and we must avoid the curved line for easing in the operation or the maneuvering work, that is the movement. Dock walls are constructed either of masonry, that is brickwork, or concrete, or combination of these materials. That is, so the dock wall, that is the wall of dock, of wet dock or dry dock, are basically constructed of masonry or concrete, or in rare case a combination is adopted as well. Construction joints are provided in case of concrete walls. So as we are aware about the joints, so whenever we are constructing the concrete wall, in that case joints will come into picture. Various possible shapes of dock and basins are mentioned as below. That is basically the shapes are rectangle, diamond, or inclined quay type. Now this is the picture representing the three various shapes of the basins. So first of all, the rectangular basin, this shows the rectangular shape, and adjacent to the basin is the marine terminal facility. So here as we can see that the loading unloading terminal facility is provided, which is adjacent. So the berthing, after the berthing operation, the cargo can be loaded adjacent to it. So this is the rectangle shape. Next, this is the diamond shape. This is the space or the entrance width for entering the basin. Basin is sort of an accommodation or area. So this is sort of a bit representing the diamond shape, where the ship will be berthed along the circumference. So here this is the circumference or periphery, that is the parameter, and in this case this is the total circumference. So the ship will be berthed adjacent to the circumference with reference to the circumference. And next is the inclined quay basin. So this is sort of the representing the inclined shape of the basin. And again, as we can see that the terminal facility for loading unloading is provided adjacent to the basin. So these are basically three shapes, and as we can see here that more or less the straight line is preferred. There is no any curvature, no any curved line exists. So we are trying to keep straight line as much as possible for ease in maneuvering or in movement. And lastly here, this line is representing the shore line. So this sort of inclined line, this represents the shore, and in this case here will be the shore, the direction of the shore line. Next, talking about the design concept, continuing with this point. In case of rectangular shaped dock, the length and breadth should be adjusted to give maximum quayage. Now maximum quayage is basically the same thing which we have seen, that is to provide as much more amount of length as possible to the ship which is going to berth. So whenever we are deciding the shape, the length and breadth should be as per, to make sure that the ship gets maximum amount of space. They should satisfy the following requirements. they should be able to withstand backfill pressure when dock is empty. Now basically this point indicates as to the dock wall which is constructed, whichever material, may it be masonry, concrete or timber construction, then which various parameters or which various criteria are there to make sure that the dock wall should be able to sustain that much situation or that much amount of load. So these are the various parameters which, while we are designing the dock wall, we must keep into account. So first is the situation where the backfill pressure exists, that is behind the dock wall there is filling or embankment which is applying the pressure on the wall, and inside the dock is empty. That is, before opening the gates there might be a possibility that the wet dock is empty, and so the backfill, that is the filling which is beside the retaining wall, will be applying pressure on the wall, and to counteract that force there is no water inside the dock. So that much amount of pressure which is being applied by the soil on the wall should be capable to withstand that pressure. So basically repeating this point, that beside the wall soil has been filled which is applying pressure, and inside there is no water to counteract that force. So this is a critical point. Next is that they should be able to withstand internal water pressure when dock is full with no backfill. So this is the opposite situation, that is the wall which has been constructed does not have any filling or any embankment beside it, and inside the wet dock is full of water. So this is the opposite situation, that is water is existing inside the dock, and to counteract that force there is no filling beside the wall. So this is the second critical situation. They should withstand shock vibration due to ship contact with dock wall. Now this point is, first of all, the width of the dock is adequately decided depending upon the width of the ship, depending upon the clearance needed. But there might be a very rare probability that ship might come into contact with the entrance or with the dock wall itself. So we keep monitoring regarding the alignment of the ship, but there might be a chance that the ship might dash or might come in contact with the entrance dock wall. So it should be able to withstand that shock vibration or that sudden impact. So they must be capable to take the impact of the ship which is going to enter the dock. They should be able to withstand concentrated load of crane foundation, bollard or capstan fixtures for mooring ship. That is, bollard or capstan are the mooring accessories which we have studied. It is the point where that rope or wire or cable of the ship will be tied up for the anchorage, and the cranes will be existing on the platform for carrying out various operations pertaining to loading and unloading. So this load which is existing on the platform should be able to be sustained by the dock. So that is the concentrated load. Next, they should be able to withstand loaded vehicles or train surcharge load flow on the quay adjacent to the wall. That is the moving load, that is of vehicles or trains which will be carrying the cargo or commodity which is unloaded. As we know that the purpose of wet dock is the loading unloading operation. So it should be able to withstand the vehicles or any communication facility which is placed adjacent to it, which will be carrying the cargo which is unloaded, so that a live load should be able to be withstand by the dock. The side and bottom should be leak proof, because that will cause a problem if the walls which have been constructed are leaking water, then that would be a problem. The basin wall height should be more than the dock wall height. So basically this point is that basin is the total area or the space or accommodation. So the outer walls, that is the wall of the basin, should be higher than the inner wall of the dock itself. Fenders should be provided to withstand impact of ship. Fenders we already know, we have studied in chapter number 4 in detail. So fenders should be provided to take the impact of ship. Next now is a very important topic of this chapter, that is dry dock. Firstly, the purpose of dry dock is to carry out the repair or maintenance work of ship. So that is the basic purpose, repair and maintenance work of ship. Now here the word dry has been mentioned. The reason being that there will be no water existing in the dock. That means the water will be removed, it will be pumped out so that the dock remains in dry state and we can carry out the repair work, because if the dock is full of water, we won't be able to carry out the repair or maintenance work. Now in this sketch there are two views, that is top view plan and the front view, that is the elevation. First of all, let us discuss what is the operation of the dry dock. What happens here is that first of all the ship is allowed to enter the harbour. The dock exists inside the harbour. So after entering the harbour, the ship will move towards this dock. There is a dock gate which is separating this dock from the harbour portion. So this gate separates the harbour portion from dock. First of all, the gates are closed and the dock might be empty or might be having water as well, because right now there are no operations being carried out. So now this gate will be opened, and so after opening the gates, the water from the harbour will enter the dock. Till when it will enter? Till the water level in both the portion, that is harbour and dock, becomes same. That is the normal law of gravity. So it will be entering the dock until the water level becomes same. Now when the water level becomes same, the ship will be allowed to enter from harbour to the dock. Then after allowing the ship to enter the dock, the gates will be closed again and the water will be pumped out. So this is in short, in a nutshell, what are the various basic operations while we are first of all giving birth to the ship inside the dock. That is how it is entered from harbour to the dock and how the gates are being operated, and lastly the pumping is being carried out in the dry dock. Now talking about the labels, first of all the width of the dock is 30 meter, length is 300 to 400 meter. Basically this length and width will depend upon what sort of ship we are going to be handling. So which is the largest ship which we are supposed to carry out the operation of, which is the widest ship which we are supposed to encounter. So basically this is the average value of the length and width of the dock. These are the dock gate, that is the gates which are sort of retaining the water. After the water has been pumped out, what will be the purpose? This dock gate will retain the water outside the portion of dock, that is the water of the harbour. Next is the pumping plant, that is for removal of water. These are the various connections in series through which the water will be removed from the dock to outside. That is the pumping plant. Steps or altar is basically for the movement of the workmen. So here as we can see that workmen will move from this platform to the bottom to carry out the repair or maintenance work. And dry dock chamber is the full chamber as a whole. So these are the various labels and the meanings of the labels in the plan view of dry dock. Now let us talk about the front view elevation. First of all, this is the width, that is the 30 meter width which we have already seen. Next is 1.20 is the top width of this coping portion, that is the platform on which movement will be done. Coping is basically provided to stop the seepage of water. So this topmost portion coping is provided to make sure that there is no seepage of water inside. Next, the width goes on increasing as we move from top to bottom in the steps. So from 1.2 to 3 to 4 to 5, which is the bottommost step. So that is on both the sides. The most important point here are keel block and bilge block. Keel block is that portion on which the keel of the ship shall rest. Now keel we have already studied in chapter number 2. Keel is the bottommost portion of the ship. It is a center line which is connecting the frontmost portion of the ship to the rearmost portion of the ship, which is a center line passing through the bottom and to the center of the ship. So that bottommost point, that is the keel, will rest on this keel block. Now basically these keel blocks are placed one after another, that is in a sequence with a sort of gap existing between them. So this keel block is not a through structure. It is provided one by one, that is blocks are arranged at a certain sort of gap or space. The purpose of providing keel block is that firstly the keel will rest on this ship, that is for alignment, because we need a center line for giving the alignment of the ship to make sure that the ship is suitably aligned and there is no any imbalance. So basically they are providing the support in the longitudinal direction, that is along the length of the ship. Repeating again, keel blocks provide support in the longitudinal direction, that is along the length of the ship. Next, on both the sides are the bilge blocks. Now bilge blocks will also provide support but in transverse direction of ship. Why? Because it is perpendicular to the length. Bilge block are provided on both the sides of the keel block, but they are providing support in the transverse direction, that is perpendicular to the length. Also they are same blocks as the keel blocks, placed at certain spacing and placed one after the another. It is also not a through construction, and all these three lines are parallel to each other. That is, at the center is the keel block, that is a line consisting of keel blocks, and on both the sides will be a line consisting of bilge blocks. All the lines will be parallel to each other, but the difference is in support for ship, that is with reference to ship we are talking, because all the three lines are parallel, but the support of keel block is longitudinal and bilge block is transverse. Next are shores, which are for support of the body of ship from the stairs. So basically shores are the wooden members which are provided to take support from the stairs to the ship body of the ship. Next, the depth or the height has been shown, that is from the bottommost portion to the that is the thickness of the platform, that is bottommost level of the keel block and the bottommost here, that is the level of the platform. So that is the thickness. 8 meter sort of represents this is the height of the body of ship, so that is sort of representing that height. And last is the culvert. Culvert is basically for the removal of water. So as we have discussed the pumping operation, culvert is for the removal of water. So these are basically all the labels in the elevation view of the dry dock. So this is an image for the dry dock. These are the lock gate or the dock gate. These are the keel blocks, that is placed at a certain spacing, which provide support in the longitudinal direction of ship. These are the bilge blocks. These are the bilge blocks, and they are also placed at a certain spacing, and they provide support in the transverse direction, that is perpendicular to the length. Next, these are the shores, which are for taking support from the stairs to the body of the ship. Here, as this is the surface of the platform, the pumping operation will be beneath this surface, so we cannot see the culvert or the pumping plant. So this is basically the platform, that is the steps from which we can move from this topmost level to the bottommost level, from where we will carry out the repair or maintenance work. The height of these keel blocks basically range from 4 feet to 6 feet approximately. So you can imagine that it is of a considerable height. Next, again, these are the view for the dry dock. This is the keel block. This is sort of plank has been provided on which the ship is being rested. This is sort of horizontal member, wooden member on which the ship will rest. These are the steps for the movement. The heavy machineries, girders, cranes are provided for carrying out the maintenance repair operation. Next, again, this is the view for dry dock. So we can see the real view of the dry dock in both these pictures. We will keep up to here in this session. In the next session, we will be continuing with a few remaining portion of dry